just 2 days ago, a historic event took place that apparently no one really knew what was gonna happen. I mean, I was a little bit surprised when I first heard about that Donald Trump was planning on meeting with Kim Jong Un at the demilitarized zone. Now, when I first heard about this, I thought that it was going to be a summit, literally in the DMC, maybe in one of those big blue houses where they signed. I think they signed the armistice there, and that would have made that alone would have made a very big moment, because that not only would restart the talks with denuclearization, but it would also show how close we are to possibly achieving peace with Korea. After all, we were now on the DMZ talking to North Korea about this whole entire situation. But it actually got way more surprising than that. Donald Trump, without his Secret Service, crossed into North Korea, shook hands with Kim Jong Un, talked for a few minutes, then even went to the press, and they talked about how they decided to restart negotiations. And all of that, just the way it was handled, was brilliant. There is nothing I can say about what... There's no criticism I can say about what President Trump has did, because, well, this would have been a golden opportunity for North Korea. And I mean that in the terms of like a military kind of situation, or trying to get more leverage against the entire international community. Donald Trump, without his Secret Service, goes and crosses through the DMZ into North Korea itself, just to meet with Kim Jong Un. They had every opportunity to just take him hostage, and yet they didn't. I bet they were surprised as well as I was. I mean, it would be a completely understandable reaction. That is the last place I would see happening. But this entirely gives a whole new symbol. It's a new level of trust and a new era when it comes to this whole conflict on the Korean Peninsula. I still believe that peace, while there's still a process going on, and which I'm glad at, it's going to be a while before it will be officially finalized. But the fact that President Donald Trump crossed into North Korea and back without any problems whatsoever, mind-blowing. There's literally nothing I can say about that. He is now officially the first U.S. president to cross into North Korea. The first. Ever since North Korea was created after the division of the Korean Peninsula in 1948, I believe it was. That fact alone, it's monumental. And this incredibly boosts his image. Because after the whole debacle of Iran and the possibility of going to war, this only cements him of trying to use diplomacy and even other means of resources at America's disposal in order to try to bring about that peace. He still is it would use war as a last result. You know what I meant. But still, it's the last resolve. And that alone makes this all worthwhile. We could have already been at war with North Korea. But now everything has changed. We have Donald Trump, the first sane U.S. president, to go in North Korea. This is one of those moments that kind of reminds me of the Berlin Wall, the fall of the Berlin Wall, or just when Ronald Reagan met with Mikhail Gorbachev in Moscow. because it highlights a de-escalation of tensions. And considering that the Korean Peninsula is the last remaining remnant of the Cold War, only solidifies this point. Now, let's get into the basics of this. This alone obviously starts the whole negotiations about denuclearization. I believe that actually Dr. Steve Turley in his own YouTube channel actually mentioned this in the best way. North Korea is currently isolated, including with China, and the rest of the international community. Even though North Korea and China officially have ties, like a security tie. They're not really in a good spot as friends. And Donald Trump obviously sees that. And while it's at this very possible moment that denuclearization is not going to officially happen because well, that's North Korea's own trump card. Donald Trump is giving them at least a little bit of space, not too much, but enough where there could be some sort of negotiation that would be favorable on America's terms and prevent North Korea to at least have some form of leverage. Now, here's what Steve Turley had to say. He said that while there may be a deal to stop the production of nuclear weapons, but at the same time, the current nuclear weapons currently in control of by North Korea would be sent to an international atomic weapons agency, which is stationed in North Korea. That way, since it's in their own country, they still have that leverage. Now, that is just only the very basic part of it. There are a lot of other things that could be included, like like the idea of withdrawing troops from the Korean Peninsula, which is something that I'm not too fond of. But again, this is just only the draft so far of how this may play out. And again, this only signifies the whole lessening of tensions on the Korean Peninsula. And I cannot say that I'm disappointed. I am heavily surprised about how far this has gone. From the Singapore summit to Vietnam to this moment, diplomatic relations and the denuclearization talks have improved. More than anything what the previous presidents have done combined. From Bill Clinton to Barack Obama, not much has been done. But what Trump did was that while he maintained America's leverage in terms of military might and as well as economic might, he was willing to give a little bit some ground in order to make the North Koreans feel comfortable, but was willing to walk away from the deal and still impose pressure if need be. This is what has made him very successful in these peace talks. If this continues on, I don't know if North Korea and South Korea would be able to be reunified, but at the very least, there is a possibility of officially ending the Korean War. I mean, there's a possibility, but I'm not sure if it will come to pass. But again, there is a possibility. I am really surprised that it's happening in my very lifetime. Back in 2016, when the whole presidential election was going to happen, he actually made the suggestion that he was willing to talk with Kim Jong-un. At first, I thought he was crazy because, well, Kim Jong-un is a madman. And I admit, I still think that way. I think that Kim Jong-un is an evil dictator. But to be fair, what President Trump has done and how he's done it has made so many gains that would probably put an end to this war. And I cannot. There is nothing that I can say is. There's really nothing I can say that I can criticize Donald Trump on is on this specific issue. Now, apparently, a lot of people on the left in the United States happen to not like this. A lot of people have. Well, what Tim Poole actually mentioned in his channel was that there were a few leftists who actually did not like what's going on. Mainly this is because that Donald Trump is the one that's doing it. Others because they love the idea of war, and it's something that I would have to agree with in terms of what Tim Poole is saying. But honestly, I think this has something more to do with how Donald Trump is doing it. Well, how Donald Trump is a part of it. Because they wish for anybody else to be the one that's in this process, not Donald Trump. Because apparently it was her turn. And it just infuriates them. It infuriates them so much that they even upload comments on Twitter about how Otto Warmbier was treated as a result of his captivity in North Korea. I'm not saying that his captivity is something that should be brushed over. Far from it. What North Korea did is inexcusable. But we cannot stop about the whole huge amount of strides towards peace on the peninsula. We cannot stride away from that as a result. Again, I believe that North Korea should face justice for what they did to Otto Warmbier. But we still need to have an opportunity to do more than just denuclearize North Korea. We have the possibility of establishing peace on the peninsula. And it's not just a peace on the peninsula the peninsula would just be affected. It will be the whole entire world. No nukes would be No nukes would probably hit Japan, South Korea, or even here in the United States. There will no... And possibly even China would not have to be involved with this issue any longer. I mean, to be fair, they still have a stake in keeping up the North Korean regime, but it wouldn't be a substantial amount of worry becoming a bigger rogue state. So yeah, I think that this is a major process. This has been a major accomplishment so far, and Donald Trump deserves the Nobel Peace Prize just for these major acts that he's made. And even if he doesn't get the Nobel Peace Prize because of somehow the guys see him as somehow another Hitler, which is BS, or somehow what he did wasn't as qualifying as how Barack Obama suddenly was elected president of the United States, which is, again, pretty stupid. He will be remembered in history for what he has done. Because what he has done has made peace possible. My name is Otto Warmbier, and on the Arc of Truth. Please post your comments down below, like this video, subscribe, and share with your friends. And if you have any criticism about my videos or how I make them or what I say, please post them either in the comments down below or as message from me. Thank you.
Almost heaven, West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountains.